These are 10 things the pros do that you don't, and this is going to help you place better both this season and the next season. If you really want to take your game to the next level, check out the solo masterclass, link in description. It is a one-time lifetime purchase with almost 200 videos from top tier pro players. Let's get straight into today's video, and the first tip is not 50-50 off spawn. If you look at all the pro players playing regular cash cups and things like that, they will never ever be 50-50 off spawn. They're the type of players to land a drop they know they can win every single time, and they're not going to waste their time trying to pick up a gun faster than the opponent, and therefore probably dying to someone way worse than them. This works for you guys too. Don't land on a single chest that you know someone else is going to land directly on. The best way to fight off spawn is wait until you've got a little bit of loot first, a little bit of shields, and then push someone else. This means that you're going to have the best possible chance of surviving, and you're not going to be going to actual lobby within seconds because you've decided to 50-50 a chest. An example of a chest that would be 50-50 would be the Grim Gate chest last season. In Grand Finals it wasn't a 50-50 because Peterbot and Puyo were uncontested, but in Cash Cup solo opens it was a very 50-50. That's why they ended up either going off spawn or winning the game, because if they got that chest first, they'd just go ahead and win. 50-50 is a very greedy thing, and so is trying to be the first person into every fight. Let's say I land at a drop and there are 3 players. If I decide to start fighting first, then I'm more likely to be third partied, and that is super greedy. But if I wait for the other 2 players to start fighting, they're going to start fighting, I could end off spawn with 1 kill and an empty POI because I've just taken them out. This is the exact same for mid-game fights. If there's multiple people in the fight, you should not be the first person fighting. It means that you're going to be at the most risk of dying, and I'd rather have less kills but be alive, and so would most pros. So that is why this tip is on the list. One big thing I've noticed this season in terms of trios and squad cups, if you are not the aggressor, then you are going to lose the fight. I noticed this a lot, and as soon as me and my squad started playing like this, we improved dramatically. Think about it, if you're being pushed by a squad and you run away, you're effectively turning your backs to them, therefore giving them the free shots at you. And they have the exact same movement you have with the fists, so they can just keep doing that and repeating that move, and eventually you're going to have to stop and fight them. But the time you stop and fight them, you'll be like 50 health, and the fight won't even be worth having. But think about this, if they start pushing you and you push them, it's a fair fight. It's a 50-50, maybe if you're a better team, it's a 70-80-50. My god, what went wrong with my maths there? But anyway, you get the point. It is more likely you're going to win because you're both cap health, you're both cap mats, as opposed to being across the map in a bad position with no mats, no health, and they're just super confident because you've been running away for ages. Number 4 is a very obvious one, but one pros do that most people don't, which is warm up. You should start your warm up with free building. There's a free building map on the screen right now. Free building is a great way to get your muscles warmed up, and you can put on music and chill and listen to music while you free build. Then you should go into aim training, which I normally do in mechanics training at V4. That is also on the map. Super really good map. There is a great amount of wonderful drills in that thing, and it can help improve your aim tenfold. Then you should 1v1 some players, putting your mechanics and aim together. That is the one I use, and it does work pretty well because I've managed to get pretty close to top 100 a couple times this season. Now the warm-up will help, but it won't help as much if you go into Fortnite then and game blame. Blaming the game can be a direct way to just take all the blame off yourself and mean it's not even your fault you died. I'm here to tell you it is your fault you died. There'll always be something unless you get headshot sniped out of nowhere while you're crouching and moving and you're actually got good movement, but there's no headshot snipes this season. So whenever you die, you did something horrifically wrong at some point. It doesn't matter when it was. If you feel like there's nothing you could have done, the mistake was probably like 5 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago, and you need to go into replay mode, go back and check out that mistake. Let's say I eventually died to no mats after getting lobby focused. It's probably a bad rotate. If I got jumped in on a rotate by someone with fists, and of course fists are overpowered, a bad player would say, oh, fists are so bad, oh my god, they can't do anything this season. And a good player would say, okay, my rotate timing was clearly wrong. If kids are jumping in on me, I might have used the wrong mats on the rotate, not hard mats or anything like that. I also might have put myself in the wrong position in zone. I might be congested side and therefore way more likely to get jumped in on. That's 3 things just from something that another player could have just written off as a game issue. So that second player is learning 3 more things than the player that's just blamed the game. Listen, with ranked being in the state that it is, pros are struggling for practice, and so is everyone else. If you're the type of player to play a trio fill cup or a duo fill cup, the one with no PR or no earnings available, and sit there and not try because of these facts, then you are not going to become a pro player. I hate to tell you. If you take a look at Malabuka, he's literally playing a 0 build Asia Cup at 4 AM in the morning, and he is playing with full focus and full hype, full power. He is literally taking it so seriously. You do not want to be the guy in your duo or trio or squad that goes, "It's just a trio fill cup. Why are we trying so hard?" Don't be like that guy, chat. Do not be like that guy. I guarantee you over time you are going to place better than him, and he is going to eventually end up not placing. The mentality you come into the smaller cups with is the mentality you come into the bigger cups with. If you can't try on small things, how are you meant to try on the big thing? As well as this, as I said earlier, rank not being a practice this season, tournaments are a prime time to practice. It doesn't matter if it's a duo open cup. You can still get high elo in that and have very good practice. With no cars, no weird gun that I've forgotten its name that has unlimited ammo, none of that stuff. You can just play competitive Fortnite, which I think people forget. Number 7 that the pros do that you don't is aim train. Aim training can be considered very boring. It is not fun. Most people don't even do it in their warm-up. However, pros will aim train because if you think about it as a percentile, how many people do you think actually aim train? I would easily say competitive players, maybe 2 out of 100 people consistently aim train on a daily basis. Maybe even less. It might even be in the point somethings. If you aim train every single day, you put yourself above 98, at least, other people in terms of how much you're training. People probably free build every day. There's probably 85 out of 100 that free build every day, which puts you ahead of 15 people out of 100 in terms of practice. But if you actually aim train, nobody else does it. So you're giving yourself a unique selling point of having crazy aim, as well as showing to yourself that you have great commitment. It is a win-win situation, and that is why most people aim train, most big pros. Tip number 8 is going to be focus on your weaknesses. The players who are placing the best in the world did not get where they are today by sitting there and focusing only on their strengths. Let's say Malabuka was the best box fighter in the world 5 years ago. He has not been all over box fights since then. If he was the best at box fights, he probably had a slightly weaker building. I don't know if this is true, by the way, this is just an example. But he might have had weaker building, and he probably worked on his building a lot. Every pro had a weakness at some point, and they have worked to either soften or completely eliminate that weakness. If you have a problem with building, then you could go into a free build map and just build for ages. I'm talking like 6 hours a day. If you're missing with your shots, aim train every day, like I just told you. There's always ways you can eliminate that weakness. If it is rotates, then you can sit there and review your games. Bad players will consistently work on their strengths, and good players will work on their weaknesses. This one might be a bit interesting, but in my opinion, most pros believe that better skill and worse chemistry is worse than worse skill and better chemistry. What I'm saying is, if your teammate is the craziest player in the world, but you don't get along with him, or your playstyles are different, then the chemistry is not there. And it's actually better to go to someone who's worse at the game, even by a landslide. But you have the same playstyle, they listen to you, and you get along fine. Most worst players would literally just go for the best player. If they're the better player, then that's who they're playing with. No, you should be going with the player who is most fitted to your playstyle and most fitted to you as a person. Trust me, it is crazy, but it does work. And finally, they VOD. They VOD review video on demand. They go through their games and they look at what they could have done better. If, like I said earlier, you are a game blamer and you blame the game for everything, I'd recommend going back into the VOD and seeing what you could have done better, whether that's the rotate, whether that's the peak shot you went for that was very unoptimal. It all adds up. You can make one mistake and then 10 minutes later get punished for it, i.e. not farming full metal, only farming 300. That being said, make sure you go check out the solo Masterclass, link in description, and like the video for the algorithm. Also, watch this one on the screen because it is a banger, trust me, you are not going to want to miss it. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.